Hey guys, welcome to Tea Party, a podcast where two Asian American high school students give you the latest tea on down-the-middle politics and what it's like to be a student from our generation, all while drinking tea. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing better than I was before. I am less bored now. Is that amazing, like a sarcastic amazing, or are you genuinely doing amazing?
Well, I'm definitely drinking better tea at least. So
What's the tea?
I'm really excited to be sharing about my tea. So this is a unique, it's the company's Singaporean, but it's British.
Okay.
So it's called TWG Teas. And the particular tea I'm drinking was a mix that was developed in 1837.
Whoa.
And it's a black tea. And it is one of the most fragrant, fruity teas you can ever drink.
So basically a really bougie black tea?
No, it's like royalty.
So more the bougie second level.
Like, it smells amazing.
Okay. Well, I feel bad now because I'm not drinking melon milk this time. I'm actually drinking tea, but it's still microwaved. And
No!
I know you don't approve of that, but I'm still doing it because it's quick, it's easy, okay, Sean?
Okay, fine. I'm gonna let this one slide past, but just don't let me hear about it next time.
Do you just want me not to mention it next time? You don't want to hear about it at all?
Lie if you have to.
Okay, I'll
lie if you have
that's
to.
what makes you happy. My tea is ginger citrus tea, which is my normal tea. All right, moving on
To news.
news.
So, as you know, this episode is named The Tea on Computers because I thought we need to get away from all the depressing COVID news.
Though we will come back to that later in my segment, but continue.
Oh, okay. Well, this is sort of exciting. Apple Inc., the tech company, they have recently announced 3 new products. One is the iPad Pro, the other is the MacBook Air, and the final one is their Mac Mini, which we won't talk about because it's really just a refresh. But the iPad Pro is something I would like to spend a bit of time on. It's brand new Apple hardware, although it looks like the previous generation, and it doesn't have like a 3-fold improvement in performance. It does have this one thing that is the new tea about this release. The improved AR, which stands for augmented reality, from LiDAR technology. LiDAR stands for light imaging, and it's basically a sensor that shoots little tiny infrared lights around the room, and it receives those lights that bounce back and determine like how far it is away.
Jeez, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to improve augmented reality performance. And if you ever played Pokemon Go, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I played a lot of Pokemon Go.
You did? Oh.
Yes. That one summer where everyone played Pokemon Go, that was the summer, as you probably know.
I do know, but I'm proud to say that I have never played Pokemon Go ever. Ever.
You're proud to say that?
Yes. Fight me.
You take pride in the fact that you have never experienced. Oh my god.
We really should be sitting face to face right now, because if you see my expression.
Your expression. What is an can you describe your expression in one word to me?
I would say it's halfway between a smirk of superiority and a look of concern.
Concern! Are you concerned about how passionate I am about Pokemon?
It's called being brainwashed.
You're calling me brainwashed?
Yes.
Oh ho 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 ho. This is okay. I can't believe this, Sean. Okay, next time I see you, I am like stealing your phone and downloading Pokemon Go on it. So help me God, I swear.
Well, that's not gonna happen because
it's okay. Well, are you saying that because of coronavirus?
Nope.
We're just never going to see each other again?
Nope. We'll get to it in our random shenanigans segment.
Okay.
That's something to look forward to. But anyway, augmented reality really in Apple's vision is for home decor and perhaps even more complicated virtual games. Rivio, which is the developer of Angry Birds, also produced a new game on the App Store recently that uses AR. So it's interesting to see how the LiDAR technology and the improved AR that comes with it will influence our consumers' daily lives. And this will probably be one of the moments when Apple really pushes forward technology in their own direction, such as their introduction of the iPhone and the original Macintosh PC. And as we've seen historically, they've created a need among consumers for new technology that they create, and software developers or other hardware manufacturers are beginning to become more eager to capitalize on Apple's new direction.
This sounds like a lot of Apple propaganda. I think we should mention at this point in the podcast, Sean is an Apple person and I am an Android person. So I'm just sitting here listening to a bunch of Apple propaganda is what's happening right now.
And this podcast is still not sponsored by Apple, and I don't know why.
And I hope it won't be, because Android is superior. I'm sorry. I have to enlighten you.
Apple did bring the smartphone to the world.
Okay, just because they're a pioneer doesn't mean that they're always top of the ranks, or they're just overrated.
Okay, I'll give you that. Apple is a little snobby. Yeah, Apple's a little snobby.
Snobby? Oh, that's kind of the word, yeah. I mean, well, high prices. You could probably draw that conclusion.
Well, snobby is not a word that we need when we're talking about Apple's refresh for the MacBook Air. So as we know, Apple usually do their own thing and doesn't care what the consumer thinks. But they recently made a concession to the consumers. Gasp. No, normally, Apple will force the consumer to adapt to trends in technology. But with this new update, they only updated the processor into a quad-core design, which is something that they've never done. But this is something just they did for the consumers and nothing else. And also, they switched their keyboard design on the MacBook Air to become one of, quote-unquote, a earlier design. So they switched away from it, this new keyboard design, they switched away from it in 2016 and opted for a more engineered version that no one liked.
Huh.
And they managed to be stubborn and kept that design for 4 years. But this year, they started to switch every one of their computers back to the old design. So...
Wild. I still feel like this is partially Apple propaganda. I mean, isn't just listening to consumers what capitalism is all about? Isn't that what they were supposed to be doing?
That's a great question. I don't actually know, but Apple's been very successful. They're like the world's first trillion-dollar company.
Yes, but like the fact that they're listening to what the people want is something that you usually see of companies in order to, customer feedback is what drives innovation.
True.
I mean, I think it's cool that they're finally listening to the people, but it's capitalism.
Moving on. The T of computers.
Computers.
That's the name of this podcast.
Yes, we're not capitalism. It's not the T of capitalism.
Yes. I'm going to talk about the original, I would argue, computer of our age, which is, drumroll please. Oh, thanks. Katherine Johnson.
Did you not expect an actual...
I didn't expect an actual drum roll, but thank you for that. Katherine Johnson. So you might be familiar with this name because of the movie and the book Hidden Figures, which is about the NASA computers, the mathematicians, that just used calculators to calculate the trajectory of our rockets to the moon, and was a prime reason of why we won the space race. She was famous because she was one of the first African American and female computers to help with such a historic mission. The tea about her, and why I brought it up today specifically, was because she died recently.
Oh, that's not good tea. That's depressing tea.
That's not great tea, but she did live to 101, age 101 at the time of her death.
That's pretty solid.
That's pretty solid. So she died February 24th of 2020 in Virginia. And I've linked her Wikipedia. She has a Wikipedia. Whoop. Down in the show notes if you're interested. But just to pay tribute to one of the greatest computers of all time.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Katherine Johnson.
So you might be wondering why I got started on computers, because it's kind of random. So I was actually reading this book, Foundation, and it's a book about technological advances and all that. And I came across this word called the singularity. And it's basically a world where technology is so advanced that we cannot imagine what it can do. So, we see people trying to prevent it in like dystopian novels, but it's really unpreventable because we really don't know what it's gonna do, if that makes sense.
So the singularity would be a time period?
Yeah, it would be pre-singularity and post-singularity.
Oh, okay.
So we're pre-singularity.
Do you think that the current time period is the singularity of the past. Like, no one could imagine that we would be sitting here, different houses, recording a podcast in front of these computers. Would this time period be considered a singularity?
I think so. Actually, in the book, they hyped up this one scene where, like, the professor, who is the secret spy, who's trying to, like, overthrow the government and whatnot, used a fingerprint reader hidden in his desk to open a cabinet in his room.
Jesus.
And I was just like, oh, wow, look at us. We're, like, using fingerprints and our faces to, like, unlock all the secrets in our lives that we can't store in our brains.
That's cool.
Surprise.
And now for your politics segment, even though we already talked a lot about capitalism. Okay, so there's a lot of depressing statistics, but as of recording, there are over 1,100,000 cases worldwide of coronavirus, of course, and there's 64,000 deaths worldwide. In the United States, we just passed 300,000 cases with 8,000 deaths, and we should note that New York City makes up a quarter of those deaths alone, but the city is recovering, with numbers rising elsewhere within New York State.
Wow.
As for the economy, 6.6 million additional people filed for unemployment this week. Combined with last week, that makes almost 10 million, which is huge on an unprecedented scale and a new record for the United States. Officials are starting to urge citizens to wear face masks, not N95s, which are the very complicated face masks, which those should be reserved for healthcare professionals, but they're recommending that you wear cloth medical masks that cover your mouth and nose whenever you're out in public, for example, when you're grocery shopping. The next part of our politics podcast, which is about the criticism of governments, not me critiquing governments, just other people critiquing governments. We're supposed to be down the middle.
Yes.
All states in the United States, but 9, which are Utah, Wyoming, both Dakotas, Nebraska, Iowa, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and South Carolina, all states but those have issued statewide stay-at-home orders. All of one of those states that were just listed are in the Midwest, which have experienced relatively low case numbers, but the governors are still receiving criticism for their inaction. And Sean, I have a question for you. Where do you think the line should be drawn between taking extreme precautions and taking measures only when deemed extremely necessary? Like, where's the balance?
Personally, in my opinion, I think taking extreme precautions is a good thing because so far the rates of everything and just our knowledge of the disease has been up and down, and we really don't know what we're doing. And I think being maximum safe is also being maximum smart.
I would agree with you on that. I can't think of any arguments otherwise, other than the whole, oh, but the economy will do bad if we close everything down for a long period of time, which is, of course, true. We're facing a recession and perhaps depression. But yeah, I would agree. We're not only going to talk about state governments, but federal governments, specifically the US government, the Russian government, and Chinese government. The US government is being criticized for the lack of response. I believe most of the critique is around our lack of testing, or making testing kits available to, the common people so you can know whether or not you are just asymptomatic or you just don't have coronavirus. That's what's happening in the US. But also, more interestingly, the Russian and Chinese governments are being criticized for hiding high infection rates and high death numbers. What are your thoughts on this, Sean?
I think that sounds kind of dangerous. So in line with my thinking from before, we don't know a lot already, and withholding information is probably going to be even worse. Plus, things such as this, we want to take as many precautions as necessary, and just not giving us the proper information. I'm guessing that citizens will probably underestimate how much they have to go to stay safe.
I would agree with that.
Alright, let's transition into our student life segment. And for this segment, we found a special guest to explain about student life right now. Eunice, take it away.
Computers are a must nowadays. Let's welcome our special guest, Shananda Doka, to be our expert in a platform we call Zoom. She's been using it nonstop for all her college classes, as the University of Washington was one of the first universities in the world to close down due to Corona.
She's here now to introduce us to the platform and give us her opinions and nifty tricks for operating the platform. Hello, Shananda. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm amazing. We're here to talk about Zoom, the video calling platform that so many of us have been using to work and learn remotely. So I know, Shananda, you've been using it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have. I'm in UW, and all my college classes use Zoom. So I've been doing all of them online, so I feel like I've become a little bit of an expert in it.
I'm just curious, is there anything that makes it different from like Skype or any other video calling platform? Because I've never used it myself.
Yes, definitely. If we compare it to Skype, Zoom can hold a lot more people. I believe it can hold up to 300, but Skype can get laggy and have a lot of issues if it's a large group of people. So that's one good thing about Zoom. And I know that Zoom has also been coming up with a lot of safety rules because a lot of schools has been using it, which Skype doesn't have. So safety is another thing to consider when choosing between the platforms.
What do you mean by safety when you like ensuring the safety of people who are on the platform?
Yeah, so basically with the current crisis, a lot of hackers have apparently been hacking into Zoom and basically drawing bad things in front of the students and getting control of their students' cameras. So to prevent that from happening, Zoom has been updating their policies and making sure that their platform basically fits the safety rules of universities and schools. And I'm not sure the Skype has that, so...
Oh. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Indeed. So I know that, all of these problems are being fixed on Zoom, but I'm wondering about your opinion, Shananda. Do you think Zoom is better for learning than in real life?
Okay, my opinion, definitely not. Even though I believe that Zoom is the best alternative and the best option we have right now for learning, I do not think that it's better than learning at schools, because we shouldn't socially and physically distance ourselves. Like, physically distancing ourselves can also impact our social lives. And I've noticed that with Zoom, because ever since I'm doing my classes on Zoom, I've noticed that I've been talking with my friends a lot less. So I would definitely prefer one-on-one experiences. So yeah, although Zoom is a good alternative.
So, the Issaquah School District has recently released their online learning plan, and apparently if we do not have any more in-person classes during our semester, our credits will be entered as pass or no credit, which means like no letter grades, no A, B, C, D, F. My assumption is that like you said, that Zoom learning is considered less effective than regular learning.
Yeah.
Do you think that making grades pass or no credit, like you either pass the class or you fail the class, is an appropriate step, or should we stick with like letter grades because we're doing online learning now?
Okay, if the district chooses to use Zoom, I believe you should stick to letter grades, online grades, rather than pass or no credit, because as I mentioned before, through Zoom, you can still do assignments, you can still communicate with teachers, get help from your peers, and you can still conduct classes effectively, maybe not as effectively as in real life, but still effective enough that I don't think it should just be pass or no credit.
Okay. Sean, do you have anything?
Okay. Yeah, so that's a lot about like the impacts of Zoom, and I just want to move on to a little bit more about the fun stuff. So I know Zoom has a lot of like nooks and crannies that normal people who are just starting to use it don't really know about.
Yes.
And I know you've been using it for a couple months now, so I'm just curious if you have any nifty tips and tricks for us newbies.
Yes, definitely. So Zoom has a lot of fun quirks here and there that really make the classes fun, in my opinion. First thing is request camera control. So in my classes, my peers and I have been requesting each other's camera controls, and then using that, you can zoom in on their faces and zoom out. So it's been really fun. A lot of my teachers have stopped allowing it, but the first few days were really fun. Apart from that, there's also something called virtual background and face touch-up. So if you think that you're at home and you don't feel as good as you want to feel, use the face touch-up, and basically to get that, next to the camera button, there'll be an arrow, and then all the options for the camera will be there. And then virtual backgrounds are my favorite part of Zoom. So basically you can put in any background you would like. And most of the time it's hilarious, and it just makes the class funny and brings out positive vibes,
Wait, I have a question. For the virtual background, can you like make your background like a GIF? Is it possible?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh.
I'm not sure about a video, but I know the options they have on Zoom. Some of them are GIFs, and also you can bring in other images by saving them through your computer and your local disk.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I would say the last thing is emojis and emotions. So they're like thumbs up, clap emojis, and the coffee mug if you want breaks. And those might not be as funny, but I find them helpful. And you can also tell your teacher to slow down or go faster. So if you're in a class with a lot of people and you don't feel like speaking up, there's a lot of alternatives like emojis, and there's also a chat utility. So you don't have to really talk. You can just virtually chat.
I feel like those kind of things, like the emojis, would be helpful for someone like me who doesn't speak up a lot in class.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Sean? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, my only thought was that from now on, I'm going to have all my classes in the Oval Office. So, despite not being a U.S. citizen, I'm going to be POTUS for once. All right. Shananda, do you have anything else to add before we close out?
No, I think that was it. You guys got to everything I wanted to talk about.
Okay, thank you for sharing all that interesting stuff. I am definitely looking forward to using it now, honestly, as a platform.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good alternative. Yeah. But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. It's a really amazing to get to hear from like someone like you about Zoom, something so relevant to us students. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, that wraps up our student life segment. All right, now we're here to talk about random shenanigans.
And you're gonna boot that out, aren't you, Sean?
Yes.
Yes, it's gonna be a tradition. Me swearing and you having to bleep it out. Sean, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. So, what's been happening in my life is that I am taking AP Home Economics.
Let's just say I did not know that was a thing.
That's not verified by the College Board, of course.
But someone made it?
Oh, no. I completely made this up.
Oh, I thought you meant like someone made like a course online or something like that about AP Home Economics.
No, it's actually just made up classes that other, like, parents, if you've seen parents on social media, they, like, make up weird classes for their own kids to enroll.
Oh, those. Like AP Laundry or something like that.
Yeah, AP Laundry.
Man.
AP Home Economics, aka Make Your Own Dinner.
That's just parents being parents.
I know there's a Honors Make Your Own Bed course somewhere.
I think I would need that. Okay, so in your AP Home Economics class, what are you learning, Sean?
So, I've been making a crepe cake.
Ooh.
A chocolate deluxe crepe cake with whipped cream, like, that I whipped myself. And a chocolate ganache cover.
Wait, is whipped cream really hard to make, though?
No, actually, you just literally whip the cream.
Like, with a spatula? No, not spatula. Nope. Sorry, I don't know the name.
With a whisk.
With a whisk.
With a whisk.
Okay,
yep.
Well, I can testify. I have seen the picture of the crepe cake. It is good. Look in the show notes. It looks good. I mean, I haven't eaten it because we're social distancing, aren't we, Sean?
We are. Oh, also, I just made what's supposed to be blueberry lemon scones.
Supposed to be? That's a very suspicious phrase you just used.
Mm-hmm. It turned out to become biscuits. Like, they did not firm up. They were too fluffy.
Oh.
They're fluffier than biscuits.
That's not a bad thing necessarily, is it? It's not like it's inedible.
No, it's actually a very good mistake, but it's still a mistake nonetheless.
Okay. You've been doing that's a lot of cooking. Baking, sorry. I wish I even also been doing baking, but I am inept. So once coronavirus is not a problem, just let me come over and then we can bake something and make it for the podcast.
Fair enough. We'll recreate a special segment of Make It Fancy. Please, BuzzFeed, don't kill us.
I don't know what that is. That's a BuzzFeed that's a BuzzFeed show?
No, Make It Fancy?
Make It Fancy?
Rie?
I know who Rie is. Oh, wait, I actually might know what you're talking about. Wait, so basically, what happens on the show?
So, she takes a common food and makes it fancy.
You know, there's an equivalent of that on YouTube, right?
That is a YouTube show.
I know, but you know Gourmet Makes from Bon Appetit? If you say no right now,
I have not seen it.
you have not heard of it, you have not seen it.
I have not seen it.
You need to see it, okay? It's okay. You can tell me about your Rie show, and I can tell you about Gourmet Makes. So Gourmet Makes is exactly what you just said. Like so basically Claire Saffitz, who is like the darling of the internet. She's like a chef from Bon Appetit, which is a food magazine company. You know?
Oh, I do know Bon Appetit. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you know Bon Appetit. Bon Appetit. So basically what Claire does is that she takes like candy and snacks. She's done things like Tic Tacs, and then she's also done like Snickers and stuff like that. And she like spends like a whole lot of time trying to make a gourmet recipe of that candy, usually without all the artificial stuff, you know, like actual gourmet. It's like very popular on the internet right now. I am surprised that you have not seen an episode, but then again, I have not seen the show that you're about to tell me about, so.
Okay, I have seen it on YouTube, I think. I've like saw like the video. I just hadn't clicked on it because Make It Fancy is so much better.
Okay, just tell me what it is. Just tell me what it is.
Okay.
And then we can let the viewers decide, the listeners decide.
Okay, listeners, just so you know, Make It Fancy is so amazing that they got 2.5 million views in just 5 days. But anyway, no, that's not the point. The point is that Rie, the most amazing chef ever at BuzzFeed, she takes like all sorts of common foods and make it really fancy that you can make at home. So
that's the same as Gourmet Makes.
You can make it at home and it takes like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
okay?
The Bon Appetit releases the recipes for everything that Claire makes. Well, of course, some of them might be like harder than usual, but they're still like... Okay, we're gonna let the listeners decide. We might make an Instagram poll because I am...
Just watch me win. Just watch me win.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about a conversation that Sean and I were having earlier. So basically, we go to the same high school, and Sean, you said that your orchestra field trip was canceled.
Yes, it was.
And our band field trip, I wasn't going to go because it's for the higher band, but their trip was also canceled, which brings us to the topic of their destinations. Sean, the orchestra was supposed to go to Hawaii. Do you remember what island of Hawaii this was?
I think it's the biggest island.
The main island? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that contributes to my argument. I've been there. The band was supposed to go to Disneyland in Anaheim, California. And Sean, for some unknown reason, thought that it would be better to go to Disneyland on a school trip than Hawaii. Sean, can you please explain yourself?
Warning to all our listeners that this is where my inner debate kid comes out.
Yeah, our inner debate kid. Sean, please tell me.
First of all, Hawaii is, since we're on a school trip, it's going to be super educational, and we're going to have to go to all of the historical museums and none of the beaches.
Okay.
And we're going to have to play on like a rickety old ship, okay? That's nothing compared to the pristineness of Disneyland.
Okay, I don't know why you think that it's pristine to perform in Disneyland. As someone who did go to Disneyland during 8th grade to perform in my middle school band, what you basically do is you go to like it's like a stage somewhere on the main street of Disneyland. I forgot the name. I think it's just called Main Street. And you just play on a stage, and people don't know who you are. Like, let's be real. Who knows, like, so-and-so middle school band who came to Disneyland to see them? No one. There's just people sitting in the audience who are just like, oh, look, there's a bunch of small, cute kids who play really badly on their instruments, and we get to watch them right here on Main Street. Compared to playing on, like, a ship, okay, I have never played on said ship.
Me neither.
But as someone who has played at that Disneyland stage, I feel like I would want to experience the ship more. Just saying.
I would say that your argument about how no one cares applies to the ship, because they're all going to be historical nuts and they're not going to listen.
Wait, the people on the ship is this like a museum on a ship?
I think so, from what I remember.
Interesting. Well, my other point, which is unrelated to the playing location, is the fact that you get to, well, even if you don't get to go on a beach, you're in Hawaii. Okay, the climate, you get to experience the climate. You're in some regular Marriott or something hotel, Marriott, don't sue us, hotel in Anaheim. right?
Yeah.
You are in a different landmass, okay? And you're in just a special environment. I mean, California is not Washington where we live, but they're just similar, you know? I mean, in some ways, they're just similar in ways that Washington and Hawaii aren't. That's my argument. That I would rather go to Hawaii on a band field trip than Disneyland.
Okay, but you're going to the happiest place on Earth versus you're going to Hawaii. Like,
it's fun, but the people here, if you go to it like as a senior in high school, which most of the people on the trip who are supposed to go were seniors, you've probably been there before. Like, as for me, if I had gone on that trip, that would be at least my third or fourth time going to Disneyland.
What?
Disneyland is still a fun place. It is still a fun place, but I have been there. How many times in your life are you gonna go to Hawaii unless you're like extremely rich?
There is no comparison. In Disneyland, you get air conditioning, and in Hawaii, you do not. There is no air conditioning. Item is not as described.
Air conditioning, smash conditioning. Let's move on. We've debated way too long on this.
All right, you know what? I think I'm going a little crazy as well. Actually, do you remember when at the beginning I said we are not going to be talking about installing Pokemon Go? We're not going to be installing Pokemon Go on my phone. This is the place where I talk about it.
Okay.
I broke it.
You broke your phone.
I broke my phone.
How'd you break it, Sean?
I was practicing my violin, and I got so mad, and it fell on the ground. I'm not going to say why.
You yeeted your phone out the ground because you're frustrated?
And now the top left of my screen is dead.
Oh my god, Sean. Okay, the last time I yeeted something like that and then had that kind of consequence was when I was in 5th grade and I yeeted a Wii remote at the TV and it broke. But that was 5th grade. Sean, you are a very good violin player. I have heard him practicing the violin and yeet his phone on the ground because he's frustrated.
I never said I yeeted my phone off. For all you know.
You said you drop. Who drops their phone and has a corner break? Let's be. Are you on the hardwood floor?
Well, it could have fell off the stand onto a tile. Could have.
I don't. Just you yeeted it. Let's be real, listeners. He yeeted it.
I admit nothing.
Okay.
I do admit though.
Okay, you admit that it happened. Okay.
No.
You're going crazy because your phone is broken?
No.
Is there any other reasons why?
But because I spent $100 on band merch.
Valid. I mean, bands have expensive merch. I am also going crazy. Not gonna lie. It's how many weeks has it been, Sean? Do you know?
It's been 3.
It's been 3 weeks.
It's halfway.
Do you know what's happening in my household right now?
No. Enlighten me.
The snacks are disappearing. All the snacks are disappearing. We go on grocery trips at a regular rate. And usually, every few weeks, my mom goes to H Mart in Bellevue, which is the Korean mart, because we're Korean, and then we get Korean snacks. Sean, the snacks are constantly being vanquished. The snacks are vanquished. That's what's happening right now in my house. I don't know if you can relate, but it's like we opened a box of crackers, like it's a pretty big box with different like packets of crackers. We opened it yesterday, and half of it's gone.
Phrase of the week.
Oh, phrase of the week. Okay, before we close, almost done. Phrase of the week. Sean, I'm noticing a trend among these phrases of the week, and the trend is that I never know what it is. So let me just go through what we talked about and see if there's anything remotely interesting that you said. Well, I don't mean as an insult. Anything out of place that you said.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna guess first then. So.
Yeah.
From what I've gathered, you love talking about your phrases of the week in rants.
Uh-huh. Okay, so which one of those do you think that this one's in?
I thought you were going to be trembling, but no, you're very composed.
You can't see me. You don't know if I'm trembling.
Okay. This makes my job significantly harder. I was gonna, do some mind trick and be like, oh, wait, you hesitated on that one.
Sean, you know me. We do debate. You can't not have a poker face or at least some kind of facade in this type of situations.
Huh. And I'm gonna say that Animal Crossing?
No.
No.
You don't want to tell me what it was?
Yes.
The snacks have been vanquished.
No, it isn't.
It was so tame. It was so tame, and yet
I knew.
I just broke your streak. Your whack of a streak.
No. Oh, I should have noted it down.
Potential streak.
That was one of my.
The snacks have been. That wouldn't even guess.
Yeah, that was like one of the spots where I was like, red light, but I forgot that we even had that conversation.
Oh my god, Sean, I'm disappointed, but then I can't be disappointed because my guesses are so utterly terrible for yours.
Alright.
My first one is that Apple is listening to its people.
Nope. My phrase of the week was item was not as described.
On that note, we're going to have to end the podcast here.
Eunice, thank you so much for potting with me.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
It's been a pleasure. This episode was edited by Sean Fan and produced by the both of us, Eunice Trope and Sean Fan. This episode was recorded on Anchor.fm. The music you're hearing right now at the beginning of the podcast and in episodes previous is by the one and only Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, composed for his famous opera, The Magic Flute. You can email us your questions, concerns, complaints, suggestions for phrases of the week, or anything else that you'd like to our email, ateapartypodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's ateapartypodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on our Instagram and our YouTube.
And like the Brothers Green always say,
don't forget to be awesome.